Eden Kaz here with Just Be, and we are about to take a spiritual boom. We are at an unprecedented time in human history where we are transitioning from 3D to 5D within the great spiritual awakening. This video and audio podcast is the place for you to find your truth beyond politics, your sovereignty, your voice. Let's kick up your vibration now. By the way, each episode ends with the Just Be practice to do just that. And as we begin the show, just to know a little bit more about me, I'm a soul realignment specialist, meditation master, and dimensional healer. Learn more, and there's merch also at EdenJustBe.com. Let's get this party started. Oh my gosh, there's a frog in there.
That's the way I've been with the pollen lately.
Oh, man. Eden, Just Be Spiritual Boom, in association with the Grassroots Warriors Network. Denise Bliss Phillips, who is typically behind the camera. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you, Eden. It's such a pleasure to be here today.
Oh, nice. All right. Virginia girl, right?
Yes. Born and raised, Virginia Beach area where Edgar Casey started.
Heck yes. Okay, quick little blurb before I go into your bio, because I wanted to let folks know. You know, we always record 2 weeks before we showcase the this podcast. Yet I just want to share with everybody. Personal, my mind and my body, they are feeling so good right now. And Denise, I'll look at you. I'm curious about you because it has been a really tough road for those of us who do heavy duty spiritual work since 2020 with everything that went down. Like for me, total relationship changes, having a lot of ascension challenges physically. Yet it is all, I'm looking out in amazement right now. It is all coming to fruition. The hard work is paying off in spades. My skin, Denise, feels different. The composition, the density of my body feels different. I'm roll my eyes back in my head for a moment. My clarity, my just feeling good and blissful is taken up a notch. And I don't feel like it's, again, in the past, kind of this rocky road. I just feel like it's here more to stay, that it's more consistent. And knowing there are all these astrological things going on and energy coming into the world. So I just really want to present. I'm going to squeeze my hands for a moment for those who are listening and not viewing. It is so good. It is so good. So whatever you're going through, hang in there. There's a lot still chaoticness in the world, but I feel like everything is heading in a great direction. And that's where I want to be. So it is going to be heading in a good direction. Any comments on that, Denise?
I can totally grasp where you're coming from with all of that. It has
Yeah.
been a journey. And for those of us that have been pulled into the front lines of this, spiritual war that we're in, it's just been, we're constantly under fire, under attack. They do not want what we have out there. They do not want people to feel the good or know the good because it's so evil all around us. And the ascension symptoms lately have been pretty strong. The energies around us have been pretty strong. But I totally agree with you in that we are changing. My body's becoming more crystalline. I'm not requiring as much food. In fact, it's April Fool's Day, but it's Happy New Year for some if you believe in the other calendars. And for me, I'm starting a detox and a cleanse and a major change of life today. Just felt the calling, and you are what you eat. So I'm making a concerted effort to go carnivore and get off of sugars and carbs and all of those things. So and it's all part of the calling because normally that's not me. I just do what I want. I've always been healthy, but now the sugars and carbs, I just want to be free of. Like I can just feel it. And the younger we get, the older we get, the more these things have effects on arthritis, and which I don't really believe in, but I can tell the difference. So it's time for a new way of life and to find different avenues and paths that we want to walk down. And totally keep ourselves clean and open to the good and the love that's all around us, because it is going to present itself here more and more, faster and faster. I don't know if it can go
Yes.
any faster than it's already going,
I
but
think
it
so.
is.
Well, and this is so great to bring up with you today because I stopped sugar a while back because and so much of the toxicity in food, per my belief, and I'm sure you're kind of standing on that, that it's just increased. It
Yes.
has so increased. So sugar also I feel is one of the most toxic, hurtful ingredients. And once you get off of it, you like I did have something this week because I can have something if I want, but it's very rare. Someone had these bars with nuts on them, and I was like, oh, taste one of those. And it's so wild when you eat it now. Like it is so friggin' sweet. Like I can only take a couple bites, and I'm just so turned off by it. So I am so delighted to hear that for you,
Yes.
to
It's
encourage others.
exciting.
It is very exciting. All right, let me read a little bit more about you. All right, Denise is a clinical hypnotherapist and NLP neuro linguistic programming person. And it's so interesting because I've had that done, but it's been a while. So I just looked online, and so much online calls it a pseudoscience, which anything that is helpful and really good, of course, they're going to knock it down and hack it, which, I'm considered hack, but that's okay. She is a certified fire walk instructor, executive leader for people, which we'll talk about that more. She serves shamanic medicine, does energy work and intuitive readings. She is the founder of the Grassroots Warrior Network, which we'll talk about too. And at the end, she is helping, tell me if I'm saying this correctly, with the Healing the World Tour, which starts before this is broadcast on April 12th, and believing it's going to be like 6 months to a year, like a tour to
Yeah.
heal the world. And we'll talk more about that. Okay, first, Denise, I want to hear about how you came to see the world as a matrix and everything going on it. Did you have your first spiritual awakening before that? And like for me, I had a spiritual awakening. And then several years later, there was another bam awakening that, oh my gosh, this world is not as it presents itself. How did that happen for you?
So for me, when I came into this world, I came in with a mission, and it was to be of service for what we are going through right now. So I came in with a major bullshit detector. And I've realized as I've gotten older and as all of this has shown itself since 2020, that what I didn't resonate with, what I did not pay attention to in school, politics, just different things, that the reason I didn't resonate or pay attention is because I knew they weren't true. So, my spiritual awakening, the first one came when I came to this earth to do this the first time in a human vessel. And I think the next spiritual growth I had was in 2008. I had decided I wanted to study hypnotherapy,
Okay.
and I had taken a local class here, and I went out. I was headed to Santa Fe, New Mexico to go to a hypno college. And I didn't want to live in an apartment building. I wanted to live in an RV and be one with nature and not connected to all the entities around me in a building or the energies that may have been. So I bought a new RV and I went out to Santa Fe, New Mexico and started studying hypnotherapy and NLP. And one thing that the gentleman that I bought, his name was Tim, and he said to me, Denise, I worked for the military, I worked for the Navy. He says, I was a remote viewer. And I just want to warn you that everything you're about to learn is going to rock your world, because everything that you thought was isn't. And I was like, "What in the hell does he mean? I'm open for this, but what am I
What am
getting
I
myself
opening myself
into?"
into? Yeah.
Yes, yes. And so from there, I got out to the school, and we had like 40 people in our class.
Okay. Can I
And
ask you a question? So
mhm,
what drew you to hypnotherapy? Why that?
I was studying psychology actually.
Okay.
And I started going to a acupuncturist here in the area, and she had a gemstone and crystal healing class one night, and I someone had introduced me. Oh, I know what happened. My grandfather died, and my acupuncturist said to me, she says, Denise, I've been seeing this gentleman. He's a psychotherapist, but he's also a hypnotherapist. She says, and I have a closer relationship with my mother now than I did when she was on this earthly plane.
Mhm.
And I'm like, I gotta see this man. I gotta learn more. So I went to him, developed that connection with my grandfather. And one other thing is back in 2004, 2005, I I was raised Southern Baptist. So my grandmother died in 1991 and I got married because I was pregnant. Like I had to live, like a Catholic would. I never wanted to let my grandparents down. I lost my dad when I was 12.
Oh,
So
man.
my grandparents, I did what they wanted. Well, in 91, my grandmother passed. And then, between the years of 2007 to 2011, a lot of us that came for this mission were being called into the healing modalities. Well, that's when I found hypnotherapy. I was studying psychology to be a psychologist. And all of a sudden, I took my sister to Miraval Resort out in Arizona.
Mhm.
And we did an equine intensive with Wyatt Webb. And it was a very expensive resort. I've had a very blessed life. And while we were there, each day you got like a therapy session, or you got you could go meet with Brent Baum, who did holographic memory resolution. And we got to know the people in our equine class. And there's this one woman, she came to class, she was hating on her mother. She hated
Oh.
her mother. Like it was terrible, the energy around it. She came back from lunch one day and she had went to have a session. That afternoon at break, she goes and calls her mother, and she's a totally different person. And I'm like, what just happened here? I don't know what she did, but I have to know more about it. And that's what started me into hypnotherapy and NLP and the language patterns and everything we use. She had studied with she had done a session with Brent Baum, holographic memory resolution. And he says that 60 seconds before a trauma happens, you can go in and reverse it and change it. Well, that's what she did. So I left Miraval Resorts after the equine intensive and went and studied in Boston with Brent Baum. And that was the start of me walking the hypnotherapy walk. But although I'd like to add, what's so interesting is what they debunk and call, psychotherapy or whatever the craziness names they put around this stuff is what they do to us in our daily lives every day. But they don't want us to know how to do it, because once we know, then we're dangerous to them because we start realizing what they are doing to us. So it's just a big catch 22. The more I learned, like Tim told me when I bought the RV, the more truths I found to
Yeah.
be true. And then fast forward to 2019, I was called to do plant medicine. As I said, I serve shamanic medicine, and I serve kambo, and I serve bufo, and they're
Okay. I
both
don't
frogs.
tell about both of those.
Yeah, they're both frog medicines.
Okay.
Um, the bufo alvarius is a frog that comes from the Sonorian desert, and they only come up a couple years to procreate, come up out of the ground a couple times a year. And when they come up, they milk the glands and get out the substance. And it's called God's molecule. It's MEO5
How
DMT.
does that happen? Milk in the glands.
Exactly.
It just
But it
happens.
is the father of all medicine. Like you have ayahuasca, she's the mother.
Yeah.
Bufo is the father, and they're both of the earth. So I started down, I was being called. I thought I was being called to ayahuasca. And I went to a retreat in Costa Rica in 2018. And I did Bufo for the first time on my birthday there. Did it twice while I was there. I came back home and people are like, Denise, what did you do? You're such a different person. My gosh, what was it? And I started hosting ceremonies here in Virginia. I brought up my healers from the shamanic women from Florida and started serving bufo and kambo and all of nature's medicines. Like kambo is nature's antibiotic.
Mm.
It has like over 200 and some peptides in it. One of them that's in there is 4,000 times stronger than morphine. And when you do
Whoa.
Cambo, I went and learned to serve. I did it 3 days in a row. Like I didn't have aches and pains. So many things that were coming on went away. Like God gave us everything we needed. And it's not prescription drugs or medical doctors. It's not. And I have found
Right.
these things and are able to take them back to people and help them with it. Now, the MEO5 DMT, the God's molecule, is very illegal here in the United States. You can go to Peru, you can go to other places and have it served Mexico without a problem. Here, we have to be very careful about how we advertise it, get people in, and all of that because of the legalities of it. But as we've learned, everything that's good for us, they take from us. Even
Mm.
like cannabis.
Yeah.
I've done shows on cannabis. Cannabis and hemp was meant to grow in the earth's surface. When it doesn't grow in the earth's surface, we have messed up the chemical makeup of our earth's surface. We are meant to have hemp and cannabis grown in it. When you do, you don't have to rotate plants. You don't have to do all those things because the surface has the core ingredients it needs. So again, they make more money off of the synthetics. That's why they push all of the synthetics. And then of course there's synthetic DMTs, there's synthetic, vaccines, there's all the stuff that makes us sick, but God gave us everything we needed. And that's what I've been called to and what I have found. So that's how I got into all of this. So
Okay.
with the
I need to
bufo.
ask you, I need to ask you a question, Denise. All right, coming from a Southern Baptist background and then totally leaving that, and I understand the connections that opened you up. Were people also like in your family just like, where the heck are you going? What are you doing? You are crazy town. Did they accept where you were heading or yeah, what did that look like?
There's been a lot of loss and departure. And as we know, with this movement we are in right now and the spiritual war we're in, I have lost, and so many people have walked out of my life. It's like, oh, another one's gone. Like, it really doesn't even phase me anymore. But yes, yes, but it did strike a chord with a lot of people, but it also brought a lot of new people
Yeah.
into my life that I would prefer to have in my life every day because they're not superficial. They're not about the money. They get it.
Mm.
I mean, I was married to a multimillionaire. I had a life of luxury and anything I wanted. And I was the most miserable human being that I could have been because money doesn't buy happiness. People thinks it does. You know, I've had nothing, I've had everything, and I've had just what I need. And I'd rather have just what I need because God provides for us what we need if we're open for it. So it was a serious turn of events as I started falling into this. My grandfather passed away in 2008,
Yeah.
and that's when I went to the hypnotherapy college. That's when I started on this path. And wow, how it opened up. And I'm still stuck in the matrix at times because, I'm supposed to be living the sacred economy. It's hard when you've been programmed, you gotta work to make it.
Yes.
So
Yes.
it's been a interesting road. It's been a turbulent road. It's been a road of loss. And what's so great about it all, though, with all the loss, some of the ones that have fallen off are starting to come back because they're seeing what's really happening,
Isn't that great?
and our tribe is coming together. Those that we have had the past lives with, and we've been worked together before. Like, I have to say, we didn't even speak on this, but I was tour manager. I was Louis Herm's personal assistant, and I was tour manager for the Truth Tour. I did over 45 stops with the Truth Tour, managed that. In 20 of 22, we did 2 months, and after the second month of it, I had to step back. I had to cocoon and heal. And I've recently had to do that too, because you are under such attack by these evil entities because they don't want the good word out there. And those that you think may be good are infiltrators or they're implants. And so, even in this movement, it's tough to
Ah,
find those that are real and true. And
mhm.
you asked me a question earlier that you're going to ask in a minute. And I'm like, whoa, who am I going to say? Because then we'll get to that, but it's just interesting once you walk this walk. But one of the other things that happened to me when I first did bufo, in the first weekend of 2019, I brought my healer friend up here and she served us. Well, the day that she was leaving, I'm like, okay, it's my turn.
Mhm.
So my daughter was there and one of my very good friends were there.
And
And
how many kids do you have? We know you have
one,
one. Okay.
and so the woman that was serving me, it was my darkest bufo journey I had had, and I had done 4 or 5 of them by this time. Well,
Okay.
what I got to see, it did not make sense, but we were all crying. The energies were just crazy.
Yeah.
And I saw the ritual child sacrifice.
Oh
I saw
man.
the drawing of the blood out of the eyes. I saw, you know, thousands of years of
Oh.
injured and hurt people that needed to be saved. And then I started seeing things shifting and things moving and the world healing and generation upon generations healing. And I saw glimpses of what's to come. I saw what we've been going through since 2020 with COVID. I saw all these things and I had no idea what it meant. And my hair is standing on end, my whole body right now as I talk about it. But I saw what's to come. And all I can say is what we're moving into, we think because we've been in this movement that we have some
Mhm.
idea of what we're
Right.
fighting. We have no idea. But I saw glimpses of what's to come. And people will ask me all the time, what do you think about politics? What do you think about who's in office? It's all psyops upon psyops. And it, it's going to turn out in the end, God and love and light win. And what we're
Yeah.
moving into is so phenomenal. I saw glimpses of it. I know some of what's to come, and it's amazing. And that just really confirmed why I'm here, what I'm doing, and what my role is in all of this. And like you said, I'm usually behind the scenes. I'm not usually out on camera.
Come on, Denise.
I Yeah, I keep getting told you have a message, you have stories to be told. People need to hear you. So that's why I'm here today. This is probably only my second or third interview. I interview a lot of people. I don't talk by myself yet. I'm not comfortable with that because
Well,
again, I'm a behind the scenes person. I make things happen. So
girl, you seem very comfortable, very comfortable. When you had that experience and seeing everything, was that your moment of clarity with what's going on? Did you already know some stuff was going on, but was this the big moment? Can you explain that a little?
it was very interesting because that was first weekend of 2019. Fast forward to what, February, March of 2020.
Mm.
I'm not even sure how it happened, but all of a sudden something popped up on my Facebook feed that said there were 200,000 unsealed arrest warrants and military tribunals were happening and
Mhm.
this was going down. I mean, and it was just like, oh my God, this is what I saw when I did Bufo. This was the journey I took. Like it just all clicked. This is what I did not get. I was not understanding what was going on. And then all of a
Mhm.
sudden, boom, there it was. And it was just interesting because Charlie Ward and Jason Q and Michael Jaco and Lewis Herms and all of these fathers of this movement just fell into my lap. How their stuff started popping up on my Facebook feed, I don't know.
Girl, I
But
have to, same thing happened to me when I was told, look deeper. Things just started coming. Like I didn't even have to search for them. They just popped up.
no,
It's
no.
crazy. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, and so I just knew. I knew what the journey was about. I knew what was coming.
Yeah.
And, there's things that I'll hear podcasters say, and there's things that, and I'm like, I already know this. How do I know this? I have a
Oh,
knowing. I'm not from here, and people will find
yeah.
that odd. I'm a Palladian. I was sent here with a mission to help. And that's why I'm here. And that's why I know what I know. That's why I've been put in the places I've been put. That's why I'm under spiritual attack. I love past life regression and what it brings. And I really studied that when I was studying hypnotherapy and NLP. And when I got done with the truth tour, I was under such spiritual attack. And I I have a friend that I went through, colleague and friend. We went through the academy together, the hypno college, and I said, I don't know why I'm under such attack. I don't know why they're after me.
Mhm.
And we knew some of my past lives, but I woke up one morning about a year ago and there's like 30 texts. She's like, this is why, and she's just sending me all these things. And it all makes sense who I am, what I am, why I'm here, why I'm under attack, and why I've been on the front lines of all of this.
So when you were under attack, how were you attacked? Was it physically, mentally, all of it? What did
All
you
of it.
feel?
All of
Okay.
it. It was a lot. It was a lot. And I was under well, there was people. One thing about this truth or movement that we have to get is it's like anything else. There's
Mhm.
infiltrators, there's controlled opposition. There
Mhm.
are implants put in here to guide the narrative, to confuse the narrative. It's just like real life. Nothing's any different in this movement than any other, you know. And so I was under a lot of spiritual attack. There was a direct infiltrator that came right into our group, and I was under attack. They even tried to take me out in a car accident on my daughter's birthday on November 16th of 2022. Thank God I
Goodness.
was driving a Tesla. They totaled the car. I was rear-ended going almost 50 miles an
Ooh, I just
hour.
got chills all over. Ooh, I had to
They
mention.
wanted to take me out. And when I pulled forward and got out of the car, because the guy that hit me was in a mid-sized Nissan pickup, when I got out of the car, and a lot of people may not understand this, and a lot of these things we're talking, if you had told me 5, 10 years ago, I would even be having this conversation and be like, you're crazy. There's no way on this effing earth I would be having this conversation. Like, I don't know about this, but I have learned so much. So there are actually implanted individuals that walk around, and they are given energy to do the things that they do. And I think some of them don't even realize who they are or what they are or
Yeah.
what they're doing. And so when I got out of the car, it was a bridge and there was a Y in the road. So I pulled up and parked in the Y. And gentleman finally pulled up that hit me. And I walked up to him. He gets out of his truck and he's looking at the damage. And I'm like, sir, you just hit me. And when I looked into his eyes, they were blank. There was no human there. It was total blank. You could tell it was cyborg or whatever. He's like, I thought you left. I said, sir, I'm in a rental. I can't leave. We have to fill out an accident report. And about that time, the emergency guy pulled up behind me, and I was driving Uber. I had a passenger in my car. So it was like, oh no, so we pulled off the major interstate, and he got cited. It was a car, a Tesla that wasn't even 6 months old, was
Mhm.
totaled. That's how hard he hit me. But I
Mhm.
walked away. I mean, I had a lot of whiplash and stuff like that I took care of, but with natural healing doctors like chiropractors and all. And it was just like, wow, it opened my eyes to what's really going on and what we're really up against in the fight. And at that point, I didn't get why. But now I've come into a lot of knowledge about my past lives and where I came from and who I am and why I'm here. And so it's been very interesting to see it unfold and come into play. And, for the longest time, I cocooned and I healed. It took me almost 10 months to recover from that. And I was just recently infiltrated again in January. I had a gray come in and I was under attack, and they were attempting to take me out again because they don't want my message out there. They do not want me here fighting the fight. I
Mhm.
am part of the Christ bloodline. I am the main reason that we are fighting to save the Christ bloodline. So, and I believe that all of us that are coming together right now share in that, if we haven't been planted or, or part of the evil team that's been put in here to
Evil team, I like
sideline
that.
us and take us off of where we're at. So, yeah, that's how I got here, and it's been an interesting ride.
It definitely has. I would mirror that. I also needed to have a major, let's say, come to Jesus moment to realize the real darkness that's out there, because I was like, oh, this is a spiritual battle. And then suddenly I was like, oh my gosh, look at that. I have an understanding of what this truly means. Because I think you have to, for those of us that are on this level, I guess if you want to call it that, you really have to know the truth of what and the
Yes.
depth of what it is. Okay, okay, let's go to I talked to you earlier. I want to know three people within this movement that you respect, knowing that things can shift and change too. So we're not saying, oh, these are hard, fast, and true. But yeah, who have you found so far that you're just like, okay, this
I would
person really
have to
seems good.
say Dr. Judy Markovich,
Okay.
who worked right alongside Dr. Anthony Fauci. She spoke at many of the truth tours, and she's been on the Grassroots Warrior Network, and she's just a beautiful person. And she'll tell you all of Fauci's secrets. She'll tell you the Travis Scott concert was, energy sent from the 5G towers, and that's what
Ooh.
took those people out. It was not, they were not, you know, uh stepped on and killed, that it was the frequency, and they were testing what they could do with these vaccines. I would say Dr. Brian Ardis is another one that I really look up highly to in his studies and research and how nicotine and stuff can help us. And the other I would have to say is probably Lewis Herms. Lewis Herms and I have been on this galactic fight, and we've been together many times, and we've been fighting this fight for many, many years, and I truly respect him and what he brings. And one of the things that makes me see through a lot of these people is, when this all started, it was all about the children, save the children, help the children. With so many of these podcasters now that came big from saving the children, don't even talk about the children anymore. It's not even on their forefront. And he constantly calls those people out and, is making comment as to why it's like this or not like this, who needs to step up, who doesn't. I know so many of these podcasters, and we don't want to call them influencers, because if you realize what influencer means, it means no influencer. So they have no power. So, and then we don't want to call them patriots, because patriot is masculine. Well, there's a lot of feminine in this movement, and there needs to be. So that's why you'll hear me say truth or a podcaster, because it is, you know, just the correct terminology to use in all of this. And being out on the front lines and seeing a lot of what I've seen, you can start seeing through people real fast, and you start seeing them for who they really are. And that's just like, it was about the children. Now it's not. Why is it not about the children? It is about the children. I would say Mark Anthony is my other person that I would have to say is pretty um influential in this movement, and he came out of retirement to help save the children, and he's fighting the hard fight, and he is constantly under attack, and things happening to him to try to take him out and stop him. But like all of us, we don't let it stop us. Lewis was under attack when I was with him, and there was processes and all he had to go through to get rid of these entities and this crap that they put upon us. So we, recently into January, everything in my life fell apart again. And luckily, I was smart enough to know what was happening and like immediately caught it, because they wanted to take me out. They want
Yeah.
to be free of me because my time hasn't come. I'm really got a lot more to do in this movement and help. So, yeah, of course, they want to shut us down. They want to get rid of us.
Man. Woo! All right. Thank you for sharing that. I also want to know one of your favorite conspiracy facts.
Elvis Presley is alive.
Okay,
That and
talk about that.
JFK Jr. is alive. Well, I had the pleasure of, I kept telling Lewis, let's go to Benton, Arkansas. It was October 16th of 2022. And, everybody wants to believe that Elvis was dead. Well, my mom, back in 1977, I was walking down the street where I grew up with my best friend, and my mom hollered out the front door, Denise, come home. I've got some bad news for you.
Yeah.
I went home. She's like, Elvis Presley died last night. I'm like, no, he didn't. She's like, Denise, Elvis died last night. I was 10, 11 years old. I'm like, no, his soul is still very much here. He did not die. Like, she didn't get it. She had no clue what I was talking about. But my dad died in a hunting accident when I was 12 years old. And I
Okay.
knew before he died it was going to happen. I've had a
Jeez.
knowing. I just know things. I knew Lewis was going to do a truth tour before Lewis knew it. I knew Tenor and I was going to do this tour we're going to talk about here shortly before. I mean, last fall, I'm like, I'm going to be doing a tour starting next year. And he called me up about a month and a half ago. He's like, I got to do a tour. I said, I know. I've been telling you this. So that's the kind of knowing I brought in. So I actually got to go to Benton, Arkansas, and we advertised. Derek Johnson was with us, Jason Q, Baby Trump. There was a lot of us there. Mark Atwood, from Ireland. We were all together for this, and Bruce Poppy, Lewis, Sarah Silly, his wife. We were all there, and it was interesting. We get there, and it's called the Household of Faith. It seats like 95 people. Well,
Okay.
you walk in, there's a vestibule. Well, Tenor told us we had to get there early. He's friends with Gene Ho and Bob Joyce. So it's a Household of Faith. We get there, and we're out on the front porch to get there early so we can get seats. Well, we had advertised we were going to be there.
Mhm.
So they finally let us inside. But while we're out on the porch, a woman says, Derek Johnson. And I said, wow, they're awake here. They know what's going on. They know who Derek Johnson is. This is Elvis. So we get inside, and because we had advertised we were going to be there, 167 people showed up for a
Oh,
congregation that seats 95.
nice.
So we walk in, and there's a baby grand piano, and it's a small church, only seats 95. Across the front of the church is a full band, a drum kit, baby grand piano. How many churches that small are you going to find that in if
Yeah,
they don't
right.
have something to do with Elvis, period? So we get in there. This gentleman starts walking around. I'm like, God, he looks familiar. Lewis and I are looking at each other. There's Secret Service in the building, because if you've been doing this, you know what to look for.
Okay.
So we sit down, and Bob Joyce starts walking around and talking to people. He asked Derek Johnson to sing because, Derek Johnson is a Billboard country chart two-time, first slot. And So he asked Derek to sing while he plays the baby grand. Now, how often do you get that to happen if it is really Elvis?
Mm.
So we had let him know we were coming. One of the women, Karen and Kevin, they wanted to get married there. So she had been emailing Bob. And he finally, she's like, if you can't, just email me back and let me know. He's like, I really have found that when I marry outside of my church, it doesn't work. So I really like for it to be my congregation. I'm like, let me see that. We're emailing him back and letting him know we're coming because we were doing an event in Benton, Arkansas, and we wanted him to come do an opening or closing prayer for us. Well, he knew we were coming. So his whole sermon that day was on truth. But he's walking around, and this other gentleman's walking around, and Lewis and I, we heard a Barney Fife impersonation, and we looked at each other. We're like, Don Knotts. It was Don Knotts there. Don Knotts was there. There was a female there also. Well, Jason Q was sitting a couple seats down from me. Well, as the church starts filling up, Jason gets up to give an older woman, his seat, and people are sitting in the floor of the office. They're out in the vestibule. They're everywhere. So Jason makes his way out to the vestibule, and he says, most people know who Jason Q is, but we call him America's secretary because he probably has over 900,000 pages of printed documents debunking what our government tells us, and
Wow.
he's constantly doing his shows on that. So he's standing out in the vestibule, and a gentleman starts speaking to him. He's like, Jason, are you Jason Q? He's like, yes, I am. He's like, he says, well, we know who you are and what you're doing, and we just want to say thank you. We want you to keep up the good work. And he turned around and looked at the gentleman, and guess who it was? Dale Earnhardt.
Oh my gosh, that's neat too.
So all of these people, I believe, have went into witness protection to help with what we're going through now. We're going to
Mhm.
find out that there is many people we thought were gone, like Bob Marley and a lot of different ones that are still, John Lennon, still very much alive, been fighting this fight and helping make us aware of what's really going on. But Bob Joyce walked around. And when he did, he was shaking hands. I pulled him in for a hug and kissed him on the cheek and said, thank you for all that you do. And there is no doubt in my mind that that's the old Elvis. He's walked away from that life. He always said if he could be a preacher and preach, he would. And there's multiple sermons of his. There's one or two I found online where he even calls himself Elvis by accident. A woman came in a gold jacket one day, and he's like, I used to have a gold jacket like that. He's on front of one of his albums. So there were some interesting times like that out on the tour that was just amazing and surreal. It makes you, I mean, we even had Trump shout us out. We were in
Oh,
Evanston, Indiana at the old post office. We were going in, Kathy O'Brien was there with us and Mark Atwood, and we had a lot of people speaking at that event. And we get there, it's a Sunday. Well, the Saturday night before, Trump had a rally. And Derek Johnson was with us on this. And Juan O'Savin, of course, came to some of our events. He wasn't at this one. And we got done. And I sit down in the RV after we've eaten and loaded everything up, getting ready to head to the next trip. And at the time, I would follow Phil Godlewski. As soon as I opened up Phil Godlewski's Telegram channel, there was a post that said, the old post office is shocked, said the president. Well, we were at the old post office the next day, and Trump brought it up, shouting us out about being there. And he also shouted out Derek Johnson and Juan O'Savin that day with things he said, because he's like, I like Ohio, but I love Alabama better. That's where Derek's from.
okay.
And so, like, Trump shouted us out. Then we got to Cheyenne Mountain, and Juan O'Savin said he may show up. Well, Juan's very close to Trump. So we're at Cheyenne Mountain doing an event, and Brad Wozny was up speaking. And Gina had said to me, Denise, Juan said, in 20 minutes, go outside. he can't come, but he's got a surprise for
Okay,
us.
let me just mention, if you're not familiar and you're listening to these people, look them up because they're all, and they're on the Grassroots Warriors Network, and they just abound. Okay, go ahead, Denise.
Yes. So anyway, Brad Wozny's speaking, and all of a sudden there's a fighter jet base there, you know.
Uh-huh.
Well, Derek and Lewis, I got set up out on the patio overlooking this lake. They're doing an interview with Nicholas Finiaman. And Derek is tracking the planes as he always does, what's up in
Mm.
the air. He's like, you're not going to believe who's at Cheyenne Mountain right now. Well, President Trump was at Cheyenne Mountain that day.
Mm.
And next thing we know, we're back inside, we're doing our thing. They finished their interview. And all of a sudden, we hear this fighter jet fly over. Well, we have Oceana Air Base right here with me.
Yeah.
The jets cannot fly. There's a ceiling they have to stay at. And Lewis's son was in the Air Force. Well, all of a sudden, these fighter jets start flying over the event center we're at. And they are almost, you can touch them. They're so close,
Oh
they're
my
barely
gosh.
missing the top of the higher buildings. And Lewis is like, we all run outside. And this is on my Facebook page, it's pinned.
Oh.
And like the fighter jets are giving us a show, and then one of the big CS-70, one of the big cargo planes flies over, and then a helicopter with black windows blacked out. I'm like, you know who's in that right there? I guarantee you Donald Trump's in that. Well, we get this fighter jet show, and Lewis is like, they can't do this without the commander in chief
Right.
giving the okay.
Okay.
Their ceilings, they were way too low. So they put on a fighter jet show for us that day,
Oh, nice.
showing us that they approved of what we were doing. I'm just like, this is some of the things that we experienced, was just unbelievable.
So
So
good.
they 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 appreciated what we were out there doing, because we were going into the belly of the beast. We were going into the bluest of the blue and just, disrupting. And no wonder we were under attack. No wonder we, had to recover from all of it, because we were asking to be attacked, bringing the word we were bringing. But the change it brought in people was just amazing to see. Like, there would be husbands that the wife made them come, and they're like, oh my gosh, I'm so glad I came today. I
Just
have a
woke them
different
up.
way of viewing this. Yeah.
Wow. That is super great. Hey, so just to, Stevens in the admitted in the waiting room, I wanted you to do the Just Be practice before we bring him in to talk more about the
Okay.
Healing the World tour, if that's cool, if you need to text him or whatever.
Just be
In terms
practice.
of where we are headed, like I have brought this up a couple times because I think it's so cool that we think we know what love is, yet
Hmm.
as we go into this ascension, we're going to be blown away with what that, because we really have had really no concept of that. In terms of talking about where we are headed, what is coming, the beauty, what else can you say to that, just to help jazz people up and to get them excited?
Well, first I have to say is just believe that a more grandiose way of life is coming for us, and be open to that, and keep an open mind in whatever it
Yeah.
is that you're seeing or is happening. Because even though the mainstream media makes Trump look bad and what he's doing, us, conspiracy theorists, which, how are you conspiracy theorists when it's all coming true?
Right.
um we've seen this for years. We came here to fight this fight. And you just have to have an open mind and an open heart, and learn to use your own discernment in your
Hmm.
own moral compass. You know, one thing we like to do was create unity through diversity. We've done that with the Grassroots Warrior Network. We did it with the Truth Tour. And that's giving, instead of shoving down your throat what they want us to believe, we give you options of what to believe.
Yes.
We give you
Very diverse.
variables, very
Hmm.
diverse. And, just be open to what is, and stop being resistant. Just because you grew up in this life and believed all these things, you're going to find out they're not true. You're going to find out everything's the opposite of what you thought it was, just like I was told back in 2008 when I bought my fifth wheel. So just be open and be open to the love and the light. We're in the age of Aquarius. Things are shifting. This happens every 26,000 years. You can't stop it. And finally, I think we have the opportunity to live a more pure and loving
Yes.
and connected life than we've ever
Yes.
had. And just be in the moment, be in nature, go hug a tree, sit at its, at the trunk of it, just be one with nature and one with the water and allow things to flow. Because when you do, the world opens up and you start seeing things through a more, you know, diverse and open way. And that's what we need, not it shoved down our throats what they want us to believe, and people that have gotten the vaccine and we see so many dying and passing away right now
Yeah.
from it, but there are ways to reverse that. There are ways to get those spike proteins and get rid of that. We have to do it constantly. Just because I did not take the vaccine doesn't mean I'm not affected by those that did.
Hmm.
So, we just have to protect ourselves and be of love, be of
Hmm.
truth, be of light, and all good things will come to us. And that's where we're at. And that's what we've got to do is take care of ourselves first. You know, you're going to have those that do not believe, you're going to have those that aren't in it like we are. There's ones just waking up now. God, we've been awake for years. You just have to love
Yeah.
them and hold them. You can't say I told you so. That's so egoic. So just be.
People. I sure as heck hope I can be on the Healing the World tour. I'm going to go ahead and throw that out there. Are you ready for me to bring Stephen in?
Yeah, so one of the things we wanted to share today is myself and Stephen Tenner, who has the Scooby Doo mobile, the Sheepnasia van that was out on tour with us. We have come together and God has called us to start a Healing the World tour. And it can be found at healingtheworld.com. I know Eden will have all this information in,
Mhm.
but I'd like to introduce you to Stephen Tenner, and he just wants to say a little bit about what's going to happen and where we're going with this tour.
Okay, can you say who he is before we bring him on? Like give a little bit more about him specifically?
Yeah, Stephen Tenner was out in Hollywood, so he's seen all of the evil and the happenings that were going on there, and he did not want to be a part of it.
Hmm.
So he broke away and got an RV and put Scooby Doo all over it and Sheepnesia and .com, and he's just been out. He was with Negative 48 for a bit in Dallas. He's been around this movement for a while, and he started singing, writing some songs and producing them. And his music is just magical and moving and will bring tears to your eyes. And he is a huge part of this truther community. So we would like to welcome him and invite him to share a few words.
Okay, Stephen, I'm gonna admit you now. So hang on, everybody, as we connect to audio. Denise, that was wonderful. I'm so excited to call you my friend.
Well, thank you.
Okay, Steven, you're not showing up, but can you hear us? Oh, there he
Hello.
is. Hey, Steven, how are you? I'm Eden.
Hi, Eden. Nice to meet you
Nice.
in person, computer, digitally.
Thank you. Yeah, and Denise just gave you a wonderful intro. So can you tell us more about Healing the World Tour? And yay for all you're doing.
Thank you, and thank you for what you do, and hello,
Oh,
the
thanks.
lovely Denise. Um, Denise is a big part. Met her on the Truth Tour. She was a beast, helping to keep one of those tours on the track, and was always impressed with her tenacity and knowledge of this matrix, navigating this matrix that we're in. The Healing the World tour, it's been a long journey for me. Started as the podcaster, spouting the truths and the Q things and all the stuff, getting myself in trouble, lost everything in my life as a result of, had a promising music and acting career. So I lost everything. Just so people know my journey, I'm not just a podcaster or, fake trade trying to take money. It's been a long learning journey for me, and God has me on the path now. I've been really tapping into the spiritual side and learning about the divinity within, and that we have everything within
Yes.
that we need. And for those that follow Greg Braden, he's been really the only thing that I look forward to his new videos. He's really ramped up the game, and he released a video yesterday, which I put the link under my recent video talking about the healing tour, which I encourage everyone to watch. It's about 25 minutes. He's really talking about the spiritual battle, how this was supposed to just be a battle. The end date was basically, which most of us can sense and understand if we're in this movement, was 2030. That date's going to move up because we're moving the date up because we're learning rapidly that the divinity and everything, that all of these distractions, the main reason is that they're trying to, whether they're spraying us, spraying our food, creating fake manipulated scriptures and all of these things, has been to manipulate us and distract us from the most important thing in the universe and all the galaxies, which is us, because the creator that created all of that is within us. They are built within our DNA, and everything that's happening that doesn't seem right is to distract us from that. So the Healing the World tour has me going out, whether I'm with two people, 200 people, or 20,000 people. It's not mainly about the music because I'm a musician and I wrote a divine song. Well, the divine wrote a divine song, used me as the vessel, called Thank You for Coming. And I'm going to perform that song when we're together because I believe the divine gave it's a special song because it's not me. There's no ego. I'm not taking credit for the song. The divine used me to write the song to tell my story and what he wants people to know about their divinity and themselves and where the power has been the whole time. So I have to plug it. If you want to hear that song, you can go to tenortalk.com. People should go to tenortalk.com. They can click on the tour link there, which will bring them to the healingtheworldtour.com. We have our first two dates. I'm all over it, and I like to keep short shows, so
That's
I
okay.
talk
Let's
fast.
go.
People can rewind. So healingtheworldtour.com has the first two dates. We're going to be, I might have the dates off. It's April 12th, the
Yeah,
weekend.
that's
I
what
believe
Denise
April
said.
12th, we're in Temperance, Michigan. We'll give the location a couple of days before. And April 13th, this is a Friday and a Saturday. I have the day
Hmm.
off, but 12th to 13th. 13th is a Sunday. We'll be in Pandora, Ohio. April 26th, we'll be in Dallas, Texas, hopefully at the Hyatt for a really big event. And I'm hoping, I'm putting it out there. I'm just saying that Greg Braden's going to be there because
Ah,
because I'm creating it. So that's what I decided this morning
boom.
during my manifestation. So I have to consider it done. That's how I'm changing my life. I'm tapping into my power within. So that's the tour. So hopefully we come together. We'll do a little music because I have a few singles, but Thank You for Coming is going to get us in the groove. Hopefully we're going to be embraced. People are going to know, like I said, whether it's two people or a whole arena, the song is going to help people. That's why the divine wrote the song, to let people know how powerful we are, what we hold inside. Everything inside is inside the kingdom. Everything you think that's important, that's out there, that's coming back, that we're waiting for, that we're going here, we're getting taken away. We're taking ourselves away within. Everything is within. Everything changes when you understand within. This is the healing. Anyone that follows him saw a video of three people that understand the language, because the language is emotion, energy and motion.
Mhm.
Our emotions have been used to manipulate us. And we created the psych ward that we're living in because we didn't know, because we got caught up in all of that stuff, and our emotions were in that over millennia, and we created what we're in. So now we have the opportunity to make all of that disappear by learning how to truly use our emotions in the right way, the emotion of love, gratitude, all of that stuff. So that's what this tour is about. We're going to tap into these things together, and I'm going to say we're going to, no guarantees when and where it will happen, but I'm manifesting the same things that in one of the videos that Greg showed out of the country probably 20 something years ago, people that understand this emotion, this language, that know how to tap into their divinity, cured a woman in real time. We watched a 2-inch tumor. People should watch that. These are on my platforms. I talk about this, and I shared this video. A tumor disappears in real time. We watch it in less than 3 minutes. It disappears as these powerful people that understand their divinity, and the woman understood, she was a participant. They chanted, they came together. The words they were saying in the language, they were saying like "What's up, what's up." It meant the loose translation is already healed. So they were seeing the woman already healed, not saying bad cancer. Oh God, please, please save her, please save
Right.
her. They tapped into their divinity, into their power. They came together and they made a tumor, they made cancer disappear in 3 minutes, and we watched it in real time. That's how powerful we are. That's
Yeah.
what we hold inside. That's why I have the Healing the World tour, and that's what we're going to start to create and have people come together, and we're going to do those things. They're not miracles. Almost wanted to say we're going to perform miracles. They made that word to make people think that when something like that happens, we didn't do it. It was like a miracle. Oh, it's a medical miracle. Let's put it in in the medical book as a mystery. No, we did it. We just didn't know. We were in that emotion
Yeah.
at the time. We weren't begging and groveling. We somehow, or someone knew at the time, but they call it miracles. They're not miracles. It's you. It's your divinity. It's what we're going to do on the tour, and I'm out on the road. I have no idea when I'm coming back to New York. As long as God wants me on the road to see one person at a truck stop while I'm driving to the next place, or 1,000 or 10,000, this is needed, and this is the
Yeah.
final. How the movie ends. We have to understand who we are, what they kept from us, and we change everything, and we write. We're the moment we've been waiting for. We're the Flash. We're the Ascension. We're everything. We're responsible for all of that. It's us.
Well,
That's
Stephen,
there you
let's
go.
go.
Let's go. I'm ready. Where are
Fabulous.
we
Let's
going? Where are
go. What
you?
are we
We're
doing?
stopping. Where are
Well,
you?
it's so funny. I'm heading for Peru in a couple days when you're in Ohio. I'll be in South America. So yeah, I will catch up with you guys somewhere else. But
Yeah,
yeah, I'm in Ohio.
we're
But
we're
I
so
travel.
you're in Ohio. Oh man.
Yes.
So well, good for you. If we can put like I mean, I heard anti-gravity aircraft are coming soon. If they have the conversion kit, if we get it here early, we could zoom the mystery machine out to Peru. I'll be happy to stop there.
Oh
No,
my
but
God,
we're
that'd be
we're
great.
we're going. I think we're going, into May. There'll be hopefully a few stops between the 13th. But the course is, kind of from the Michigan, Ohio area, kind
Okay.
of making our way
Wiggling down.
north to Texas because I have to be there for a film event the 25th, but the 26th will be hopefully this huge event. Well, it will be because I'm manifesting. There will be a huge event in Dallas, Texas on April 26th at the Hyatt, which is 300 Reunion Boulevard. And I'm manifesting that. I haven't booked it yet, but it's a done deal. Just so people understand how things happen, this is not booked yet. So when if they're slow to the
Right.
party and they see this and then they go like, holy shit, and they see this huge event at the Hyatt, they'll know that I'm a powerful divine being. We're all the same, and they can do the same thing. So that's going to come together because I command it, and I'm going to make it happen. And that's
Heck
it.
yeah.
So I have a beautiful dog because I commanded her into my life. She's a beautiful furball, a miniature Chihuahua, because I read actually Dr. Joe Dispenza's book, Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself, and that's how I first learned how to get out of the crazy mind that
Yeah.
has been manipulated, that why we're in this mess. And so we have to rewire our brains, and that's a part of this. Learning your divinity is
Mhm.
rewiring your brain. And I think a big part of it is also being healthy. I think I can
Yes.
confidently say that because I'm on like probably a 70-30 diet. I'll have a beer or a drink every now and again. Nothing like I'll eat like a piece of cheesecake, but my day starts with all fresh food. I still take the thing that starts with IVERMECTI, that they alienated. I wear
Yes.
a mellow nicotine patch because pure sprayed in poison
Yes.
nicotine is actually good for you. It doesn't cause
Yes.
cancer, the pure nicotine. So I wear a patch because I know that helps reverse all kinds of things. And
Ah,
and the fact
Denise
the
is showing
fact that
hers.
I'm in this when I go to bed unstressed because I still use certain frequency and devices and things that people may need until they get to this place where they understand. But that's not what this tour is about. I'm not pushing devices. But because I got into this space and I'm not in flight or fight mode,
Mhm.
right? My body's not in
Yes.
fight or flight mode anymore when I go to bed. So the chemicals, and people need to understand this, these are the things. Your brain is sending chemicals if you're just stressed out because you had an argument or you're trying to wake, someone up to tell them what's going on in the world. You're going to bed angry, stressed out. your brain doesn't know if you're being chased by a wild animal. The brain is sensing the same thing. It's sending you those chemicals. So my
Mhm.
brain sends me beautiful,
Yep.
loving, healing chemicals when I go to sleep, because I go to sleep like, I don't give a shit about anything because I know what's up. I know how divine I am. I know how this movie ends. I'm gonna be a participant in ending this movie. I'm so happy. Now, I'm not saying everything's perfect every day, but when I go to bed, that's the most important time that I try to be completely clear, because my body is naturally sending the chemicals that it's supposed to,
Yeah.
that race disease or not give you disease, because the
Right.
other chemicals give you dis-ease.
Bam.
And so I'm going to be 57. I'm in perfect health. I take no pharmaceuticals.
Me
I try to
too.
do a good diet, and I try to and that's just the way to. So the Healing the World tour is going to pack a lot of stuff. Hopefully we'll keep them 3-hour events. People want to hang out afterwards for hours, talk about other things, try out, because we do have other things like my partner that's kind of coming on the thing has a I have to just say this because people still want to learn about these things in the meantime, but we have to bypass this in the future. We don't need anything in the future. Anything once we tap into this, once we reach that mass, right? And we send that out. But we got like a red light panel and the green light panel, and these do all kinds of special
Oh
things.
yeah.
I have a headphone brain tap that doesn't matter,
Yeah.
has thousands of manifest things, and I still use it because it keeps me calm. You know what I mean? I'm still
Yeah.
using certain, but I want to bypass. The goal is to bypass all of these things
Right.
because
They're
we
just
have
tools for right now.
everything we need inside, and people are going to need these things. The people that are going to listen to this show and say, "What in the hell?" Oh, there's the gorgeous little creature thing. Bambi, want to show you
Okay,
off. Come here,
Denise
honey.
already has your hairless cat.
Yes,
Yes.
What's is it a she, he?
Bella. Yeah, it's Bella
Bella.
Luna. Yes,
Hello.
this is
Okay, Stephen,
Bella.
do you
Come
have
here, honey.
yours?
I'm Bambi's she's in the sunlight. She's a Chihuahua. She
Oh,
loves this. She's in the
Bambi.
bedroom, so I'm calling her.
Chihuahua.
Bambi, come here, honey.
Okay,
Come here,
for
girl.
those who can't see, we'll keep describing Chihuahuas
Anyway,
coming up.
that's the tour. HealingTheWorldTour.com. We still have to update it. This is basically going to operate. I have ticket prices on there. I don't know if those are the exact
Okay.
ticket prices. We wanted to
It's just
get those.
evolving.
It's evolving. If there's three
Right.
people, we have to rent a space. The ticket
Get
prices
it.
will be different. And if you want to be involved, anybody, if you have a space, if you want the tour, if you're in that, trajectory,
Yes.
south, a little southwest, a little southeast of coming down from Ohio, heading towards Texas, and you think you can get some people together that understand this language, and you want to get together, powerful creators get together and make some change, send me an email, Tenors Tribe,
I'll write this
Tenners,
down.
tribe at Gmail. Um, but my music is at tenortalk.com. I have my 3 singles there. This is operating on these ticket prices and donations. So we're
Okay, so
good to
just to
go
make sure,
right
Tenor,
now.
it was Tenor's Tribe, Tenners Tribe
Tribe at Gmail if
at
they,
Gmail.
and
Okay.
and I will keep anybody's email private if they have a problem, they want to talk to me about a specific thing that they're suffering with, and they want to show up at a
At a
space,
specific
and
one.
we and
Okay.
we we concentrate on them and focus on them. Again, no guarantees, but it's hard sometimes to tap into this emotion, to get emotion. They used our emotions for everything else, so that's why it's so hard. That's why we have to break that. It's hard to tap into the emotions for the right way and to be able to express your emotions, especially guys. It's
Oh,
double
I know.
jeopardy because
Yep.
we've been told, you're a badass, you're a masculine guy. Oh my goodness, you're gonna cry. I usually cry on every show, everywhere, and I love it because I'm tapping into my
Right.
emotion. And
You're
guys, the women love that, by the
Oh
way.
yeah, tapping into your
So
divine feminine because we're all
that's
that.
the divine feminine is actually in the guys, and that we've been taught to
Yes.
be this badass, and so we're totally blocked from helping to do
Right.
anything positive because we don't want to get emotional. And that's the key. That's the secret. Emotions, getting
Yep.
emotion, feeling that emotion and applying that motion with your thoughts, like daydreaming as a kid, applying that emotion with your thoughts, seeing as if it's already done,
Mhm.
celebrating as if it's already in your life. That's the secret. That's what they kept out of one of the scriptures. The lost book of Thomas doesn't speak about it once, it speaks about it 3 times. The correct way to pray, not ask and ye shall receive. I don't know about you, ladies, I've been asking my whole life for shit and I didn't see anything. Now I'm seeing a lot of stuff because I don't ask for it. I
It
command it into
is.
my life with emotion and I celebrate
Yeah.
it as if it's already here. So there, I hope that explained the tour.
Yeah. I think that was really good. Man, Stephen, well, good. I feel the power within your voice and the power of this tour, which is awesome. Denise, so nice to see you and have you here and to talk about things. All right, y'all, I think we're finished up. I will post everything underneath, all the links to everything. I'm getting powered up for a second. Yay, us.
Yeah,
Yay!
we're the change. We're making it happen.
was
We're who we've been
beautiful.
waiting for. We're the plan. I trust the plan because I'm the plan. What's up? Are you ready?
Yes. All right,
Yes.
signing off. See you next week. Y'all are great. Loved it. Y'all, find me on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Truth Social, as well as Rumble, BitChute, YouTube, plus a plethora of other audio directories like Apple Podcasts and Spotify. So like, subscribe, do it all. See ya.